Hello, everyone. Welcome in to your best year, making 2025 your best year. I am so excited to be talking to you about how to make this happen because we're in this thing together. We are all being intentional about making 2025 our best year. All right. So let me get my chat up so I can see who's in here with me. All right, I got my chat up so I can see who's in here with me as we take a minute to let everybody come into the live. Come on in. We're going to talk about how to make 2025 your best year. And we all want that, especially after a year like 2024, right? Not to say that everything was wrong with it, because there were a lot of amazing things that came out of 2024, but we definitely want to make 2025 a better year, our best year, and we should always strive for that, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give a few more minutes for people to come into the live to join us for this conversation about how to make 2025 your best year. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Just a few more minutes and we're going to get started. Letting everybody know we are live now. We are live. We are live talking about how to make 2025 your best year. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be an interactive session. If you want to come into the studio with me, I can provide a link to share for you to join the studio with me. So, yeah, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. All right. Come on into the studio. We're going to get started. Yep, come on in. We're going to get started in just a minute. So you definitely don't want to miss this live. We're going to be talking about how to make 2025 your best year. And we don't want anybody to miss out. Doesn't matter what's going on in the world around us, we have power, we have authority in our own lives to make changes, to make things happen. And we're going to do that. Just that, okay? All right. Just get a good angle here so you can see me well before we jump right in. Anybody else excited about this year? I mean, so much has happened already, and it hasn't been a perfect year just to start off. But what year is, right? We reflect back on previous years, and especially some of those years that were really pivotal and created a lot of change in our lives, like 2020, for instance. It started off pretty rough. There were a lot of things happening before we even got through the first month of the year, and this year is starting off pretty similar. Some of us can be sad about that. We can be discouraged about that, but others, we can have a totally different perspective. We can think about it as an opportunity to make it our best year. Because while 2020 came with so many tragedies, just horrible experiences that no one would like to have in their life. It also came with a lot of blessings, a lot of discoveries. It created a lot of shifts and pivots in people's lives that totally changed their lives. It created many millionaires, the most millionaires that have been created since the Great Depression. So there's so many ways to look at things, and our goal is to be optimistic and hopeful that this year can be our best year, we've just got to put the work in. We've just got to show up for ourselves to make sure that that happens. And those are some of the things we're going to talk about today. All right. So we're going to get started with making 2025 our best year. Hopefully, you're joining me live on YouTube and on TikTok. Thank you so much for joining. Love to see all of you here, and just excited about how to make this year your best year as well. Because why not? Why not make it your best year? I mean, if anybody's going to have a great year, why not it be you? You know, it should definitely be you. So I'm so grateful that you're here. We're going to really kickstart this conversation around how to make 2025 your best year. Like I said, if you are joining on YouTube or TikTok and you want to join the conversation, then let me know. I can add you in to the conversation so you can come on screen with me. And so this can be an interactive and engaging live stream today, okay? All right. So let's get started. Let's get started with how to make 2025 your best year. You're going to make it your best year. I believe that. All right. So, first, I want to welcome you. If you don't know me, I am Coach Jennifer. I am a business coach who focuses on transforming your business so you can transform your life. I am so thrilled that you have joined me today in this experience because our real focus is on clarity and purpose. We want to get to purpose through clarity and focus. And so, those are some of the things we're going to talk about today. We are going on this journey together of self discovery, self reflection. We are really focused on creating a purposeful, meaningful, and fulfilling life and understanding that we have the power to do so. It's within us, right? We can do all these amazing things. We just have to have an approach. We have to know how it can happen. We have to keep our minds in positive and healthy states to make it happen. And that's what we're going to dive into today. All right. So, first, we want to think about 2024 reflections. What does that mean to reflect, to discover and uncover things about yourself? These are things that you realize in that past year of 2024, and how did just those things shift you, change you, and help you become the version of yourself that you are today. It's definitely something to think about. Is it was 12 months of your life, you know, and for a lot of us, it went by really fast, but at the same time, um, sometimes you just don't have time to stop and reflect. You just don't have time to really like back in the day, they used to manually like sit down for hours and kind of manage their checkbook and their balance their checkbook and their bank account. And we don't do that anymore. We have all these digital products and things to assist us to do those things. So we don't even have to think about it. But when it comes to our personal life, our personal journey, we should be intentional of stopping to reflect on what happened, what took place. If we got to go back into our checkbook of things that happened in our lives in 2024, what does it look like? What took place and how much did it cost us? Or did we gain money there? Did we create savings there, for ourselves, for our esteem, for our self awareness? Like, how did 2024 affect us? So that's what we're going to get into, some of those reflections, discoveries, and things that we uncovered about ourselves in 2024. Um, sometimes we think about why. Why do we even need self reflection? Why is it so important? Well, it's important so you can evaluate your personal growth, right? Sometimes, you know, you're not growing. Think something needs to change in your life. You're not growing. And so we need to evaluate our personal growth, reflect on our journey, celebrate the strides that we've made, and acknowledge those challenging and triumphant experiences because we've had them both. Excuse me, my allergies are, and I'm sure if you have winter allergies, you totally understand. So, one, we need to evaluate our personal growth, but then we need to focus on clarity of purpose and vision. How do we gain that? How do we gain insights just from us, like not from the world around us and, what the trends are, but like how do we go inside to really think about what the vision for our future is? How do we align that with our core values, our principles, and our purpose in life? How do we do that? That's why we need to self reflect. We need to also create balance in our personal and professional lives. Whether you're a career person or an entrepreneur or business owner, you need that balance. We all need that balance. We have to discover those strategies to create that harmony. What does that look like? Well, we can't do that unless we stop for a minute and think about what is needed, what needs to change, what worked, what didn't work. That's why we need to self reflect. It also helps us to increase our knowledge of our understanding of self. And we all need to get to know ourselves better because we are constantly changing, growing, and evolving. And if we don't stop to recognize that, we could be operating from old habits, patterns, and behaviors that we operated from for years back, right? And so we tend to, if we do that, we will tend to show up as versions of ourselves that we no longer are. And then we get frustrated with people who are like, well, I thought that was you. And you're thinking to yourself, no, that hasn't been me for years. You don't know me. Well, maybe they don't know you because you don't know you. Maybe they don't know you because you are not fully presenting the version of yourself, right? That is the present version of you. So, how do you stop and you say to yourself, okay, how do I present the current version of myself? So now my environment changes, the people around me change. They either accept who I am today or they get to step in because it doesn't work anymore. There's no harmony there in those relationships, interactions, and experiences, right? So that's why it's so important to increase the knowledge and understanding of self. It's also important to do that because if you don't change the way you see you, understand your new strength, your new power, the new things you discovered about you, then it's going to be really challenging for you to pursue your next thing. You can definitely stay stuck, you can stay in one place, but when we get when we start our journey of climbing in our lives, right? Reaching for the next thing, growing, evolving, becoming our truest self, we have to um, we have to take all of those pieces that we have gained along the way to help us in that next stage of our lives. So if you don't recognize those gifts, those skills, those lessons learned in the current state, then you won't be able to have all of the resources necessary to take you forward into your best future. So self reflection is highly important for our growth, for our development, for our desires, for our hopes, for our purpose in life. We've got to do this work, people. We've got to do this work. So now let's think about the outcomes. What do we gain from this being reflective of the past? Some people just say like don't look back, just look forward, just look to the future. But there is purpose in the past as well, right? So you also need to understand what you actually gain from the past. And here's some of the things you gain. You gain the ability to build purpose for routines in your life. Like you're doing things that actually make sense for you now versus just repeating habits and behaviors that did not serve you or what you're doing in life and definitely not where you're going in life. So you cut all those things out because you were reflective and you're also present with what works and what doesn't work for you anymore. You enhance your self-awareness. You learn to set boundaries, which is huge for us. Um, and it's an area of personal development that a lot of people are challenged with, is setting boundaries with ourselves, with our loved ones. Sometimes it can be very hard to do that, but it's so critical for us to set those boundaries to protect ourselves. Setting boundaries is not about hurting others, but it is about protecting yourself. In some stages of life, you need more protection than other stages. Some times, transition times, you have the capacity to deal with hurt and pain or distractions in a way that you don't at other times. And so, what that means is that your boundaries can change and they need to consistently change to match your current needs. And that's okay. So, being reflective teaches you when that needs to happen. It also helps you understand your personal priorities, clarifies your values. It helps you gain a sense of gratitude and appreciation because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for where I came from, or how much I've grown, or all the things that have taken place in my life. I'm so grateful for that because if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So it really helps you create that sense of gratitude and appreciation. And gratitude and appreciation are some of the best healers and coping mechanisms for depression and sadness, or feeling like you haven't yet achieved what you have desired to do so. So it's really important because it really helps you as you continue your journey. You get to learn from your experiences. You get to be mindful with your decision making. These are all some really core things that are signs that you have spent time with you. And it doesn't have to be that you're spending hours each day reflecting, but you do need to spend a certain amount of time where you've decided that this is my reflection time. You can say every week on a Sunday, I'm going to reflect. Or, a Saturday night, it's going to be or Saturday morning, that I'm going to get my coffee, I'll get my blanket, and I'm just going to relax and I'm going to sit and think or write down thoughts that came to me, or even talk to myself. Some people think it's crazy, but for a lot of people, it is the best way to get out those thoughts, feelings, expressions, emotions, is to talk to yourself. And you can be intentional with it. You can use your phone, you can use an app on your phone, and you can create a verbal journal. You can use your notes in your phone and create a journal just with your voice memos around your reflections. And sometimes that's much better to hear yourself say it, especially when you're reflecting and you're affirming yourself. It's always great to hear you speak to you. So I would encourage you, if you haven't done it, and yes, you may feel absolutely crazy doing it, but if you haven't done it, I would encourage you to talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about the past, talk to yourself about the present, talk to yourself about where you want to go, because you are so powerful, and just you hearing your own voice changes things within you. Isn't that amazing? It's so amazing to have that kind of power, that if you say it, it matters, it means something, it makes changes, it creates waves in your life. Like, that's pretty huge that we're that powerful. And there have been studies done to show that when it comes to our words, our voice, our sound. So that's amazing. Okay, so when we talk about these steps to reflect, what are they? Okay, we want to set aside time, like we just talked about, to think deeply about our thoughts, our attitudes, our motivations, and our desires. Then we want to discover, we want to find something either by accident or because you've been looking for it. Like, what do I need to discover about myself, about my actions, my behaviors, my habits, my environment, my relationships? What do I need to discover? Do I take the time to do that now? Or do I let another 6 months, 9 months, 10 months go by where I didn't even stop to be present with what is going on in my life and around me? I wouldn't advise it. I would say this is the time. This is the first month of the new year. This is the time to stop and be present with yourself. Find something, either by accident or because you're looking for it. Look for it. Look for it. Uncover it. Uncover it. Discover it. It could be hidden. It could be something you've kept from yourself, something you considered a secret, but do you need to go back and reflect on that for 2024 and recognize, why is it hidden? Why is it a secret? Why did I put it in that category? Does it need to be? Does it serve me there? Or do I really need to transform the way I'm thinking about it? Does something need to change? Do I need to deal with that? Do I need to heal from that? What work needs to be done here, right? That is what you will learn when you reflect. And that's why it's so important. It's January 25th of 2025, and I'm still reflecting on 2024. I feel like I still have pages to write, to just document what took place, because the year was so full and things were happening back to back to back that I don't feel like I did the best in just documenting it all so I can fully reflect on what happened, what God brought me through, all the changes that took place in my life, and just really having the best sense of gratitude that I can to be where I am today. So I am still, even myself, on this journey of reflection, taking this time this month and even next month of just making sure that I do all these things, that I reflect, I discover, and I uncover, because I do believe there are gifts that came from that year that I want to get the fullness of that gift. Like, I want all the things. Okay, I've already paid the price for it. I want it. And so I plan on doing that as well. So I encourage you to do that with me. If you don't take the time to do it today, take the time over the next 30 days and reflect on the previous year, even on your life, on your past. Okay. So when we think about 2024, some of the easy ways to approach this, because you don't have to like try to think about everything at one time. It's too much. It's overwhelming, right? It's just too much. It's too much. So what you want to do when you're thinking about when you're thinking about 2024 is you want to reflect on lessons learned. What are some of those lessons that you learned about yourself, about life, about people, about things? you know, and it doesn't have to be all these serious lessons, right? I mean, you're going to get there as you continue your reflection process. But what about like things you learned on TikTok? Okay. Things like um how to be more efficient in how you wash your dishes. Things like how to um we learned so many things. Like, we learned what different parts of the soda can were used for. We learned all kinds of things that we did not know. And it's like, huh, okay, I didn't know that. So, like, it's still a lesson learned. It doesn't have to be this major, catastrophic life thing that took place, this major discovery. But let's just start with some simple things, like even pleasant things that we learned, things that were just like, huh, that's nice to know. I may use that one day, or that's a cool fact to share with someone. Those are still lessons learned, right? As you get deeper into your reflection, you can go even deeper into some of those major things, lessons learned about you, how you think, how you feel, your spirit, lessons learned about your heart, right? You can categorize things so it's not so overwhelming to process all of the lessons learned, right? You can kind of just focus on one area at a time, and you can feel really good about being present with that one area and getting every gift, right? Every gift that you receive from that area in 2024. Okay. So the next thing I would do when I am doing my best to be reflective and reflect deeply is I would think about what was the word I had for 2024. I'm sure I had one, right? What was that word? If you didn't have one, maybe it's something you should do. A lot of people set a word for the year, an intention for the year, and they they use that as a guide throughout the year. They use it as a reflection point to say like, okay, am I doing this thing? Am I honoring this word? Is this happening for me? You know, the thing I will tell you is I've done this before. I typically do it every year. Sometimes I know going into the year what my word is going to be, and other times I have no clue what my word is. Um, so I give myself some time. I take this month. Sometimes it doesn't come to me until middle of February, right? The middle of February. And I'm like, okay, that's my word. I feel good about it. And I think it's important to take your time because sometimes we can like snatch and grab these buzzwords. And honey, when you say, okay, I want this year, my word for this year to be transformation or change or whatever the case may be, elevation. Oh my God, those are huge words, huge, huge, huge words that are life changing. And sometimes we don't know what we're asking for, but when we put it out there, it will come to us. So, so you want to be wise. You want to take your time and picking and choosing your word for 2024. Okay. Because you just need to make sure you understand it and that you have fully accepted what comes with it because it's coming. It's definitely coming. Growing pains are real. Like, and you're going to feel it in probably many areas of your life. So make sure that whatever that word is that you're deciding and the way you want to grow, like you've really done your research, you've prayed about it, and that's what you really desire. And if you desire it, go after it. It's for you. Like go for it. It's fine. Yeah, it's gonna cost you something, but it's worth the price. So go for it. Once again, I am Coach Jennifer, and we are here today talking about how to make 2025 your best year. If you've got some lessons learned from 2024 that you want to drop in the chat, please do so. This is meant to be an interactive session. Let's share together as we go on this journey of making 2025 your best year. Let's share what that looks like. How can we do that together? What are some of those things that we reflect on as far as lessons learned? And um, what was your word for 2024? What was that? Did that happen for you? How did it challenge you? Feel free to drop those things in the chat as we continue on this discussion. Okay, and so I'll just keep us going as people decide to drop things in the chat and communicate about 2020, about 2024. Okay, so we've talked about that reflection period, which we know we have. But now we're in 2025. So what needs to happen now, right? We've reflected, we've taken some time to do that, but what needs to happen? Well, one, we need to recognize that it all starts with purpose. That's what we have to start with. Everything has to start with purpose. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we get there. How do you get to that purposeful state? Because that's where it starts. It all starts with purpose. All right. And it's been one of those words. Purpose has been one of those words. It's like, okay, well, what? What does that mean? I remember many times in my life, like, wondering like, well, what does that really mean? How do I find that? I felt like I had so much vision, so many things I wanted to do, so many desires, and I really didn't even know how to find my purpose. So we'll talk about some of those things. How to discover your purpose, how to set intentions, and how to plan to make 2025 your best year. But we'll start with the intentions around your purpose. So when you look to set intentions, you want to unlearn approaches that led to productivity and not purposeful living. The society, the world we live in, especially if you're in the corporate world at all, like everything is around how much you produce. Like, what can you get done? How quickly can you get it done? How well can you get it done? It's all about production. But our goal is to get to our original design around creation. And how do we get purposeful around being creators, and what does that mean to create a purposeful life? So we want to set intentions around that. And that is all working together to get you to that purposeful state of being. And so let's talk about the differences. The differences between goal setting, which is that productivity, and intention setting, which is being purposeful, is the goals, they act as long term plans. Like owning your business, buying a car, running a marathon, they become visions for the future, right? Um, they they're things that you're just working towards that aren't necessarily tied to a larger, they don't have to be tied to a larger plan or vision for your life. It's just like something you want to do in the future. So I'm going to set a goal to do this thing, check, done, right? Intention setting is the act of creating a mini purpose. It's a mini focus, right? Because sometimes thinking about being purposeful, living a purposeful life, discovering purpose can feel so overwhelming because you do have a lot of thoughts, feelings, visions for yourself. You're like, I don't even know where to start. But if you start with just setting an intention, it's like creating a mini purpose, that mini focus each day that aligns with your overall purpose, right? It's just like a step towards something. You're going in a specific direction towards something. You're creating a consistent practice of being purposeful. It keeps you focused day to day, and it keeps your mind where it needs to be to live a purposeful life, because we know like that's where all the problems happen, is in our mind, right? That's where the distractions take place. That's where we get discouraged, all the things. It's like how we think about our lives, our current situations, what's happened to us, and what we believe is going to happen for us. So that is the difference in these two make the difference. Okay. So we want to shift from being productive to being purposeful, being able to set intentions around our lives. It's important. And when we think about why, it really is the difference between life and death. That productivity world, that culture that we live in, that we function in, it requires performance, and performance creates zombies. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over because that's the job, that's the requirement, that's what people expect, right? That's what they want from you. And when you do something different, you are not following that mode. It will cause a problem, right? There's going to be complaints, there's going to be sit down conversations about the fact that you are operating differently, that you're not just being creative, and operating in your creative, and creator power that you have. That's not what performance is about. It's about meeting an expected requirement that has already been laid out for you. So it just kind of boxes you in, and you become a zombie. And that's death for us. We just weren't created to live that way, just be performing and producing, and that's it. But we were created to live a purposeful and abundant life. That is life to us. It re energizes us to know that, we can evolve and change and do something different with our lives, with our just anything in our lives. We have the power to do that. We have the power to create the life that we desire. So it really is the difference of choosing to live and experience the fullness of life or to just be a performer, just someone who is productive. And you get to choose, it's your life. But I would choose, I would definitely choose life. I would choose to be a creator of my own life, choose to pursue the purpose for my life and experience the most abundant life possible. That is my choice. And I hope it's yours. I really do. I think that's a life you would love. I think that's a life you will enjoy. So now we talked a little bit about those intentions, those many purposeful steps you can do, little small steps that you can do as you are working towards purpose. But now we want to talk about how to discover that purpose. So, what is that? It is really understanding why you exist. It captures the heart of why you were created. That is what purpose is. It defines your life, not in terms of like just how you see yourself, but why were you created? Why did your creator, why did God create you? Like, what is that about? There had to be a purpose for it. So what is that? Right? It really helps you look at things not just on your own terms, not just from your perspective, your viewpoint, but opening your mind to like, how does God see me? Like what am I meant to do? What is the impact I'm meant to have in this world? Because it can't just be being productive and getting things done. That doesn't lead to an abundant life and it doesn't lead to creating an amazing legacy. Just not going to happen that way. Purpose also clarifies your non negotiables. This is something that we don't often think about. We don't often think about how getting so focused on what we were created to do is actually going to clarify the things we should not be doing. Like, we just don't even think about that. We don't think about the importance of like focusing on, hey, I shouldn't even be doing these things. And my purpose helps me understand, helps me categorize and say, like, not doing it. Why? Because I know that that is not going to get me to my purposeful state of being. It is not going to create a purposeful full life for me, right? So I know I shouldn't be doing it. It identifies the parts about us that should not ever change, right? This is who I am. This is who I have to be because this version of myself, having this type of mindset, this character, this integrity, it's going to create that purposeful life for me. So it identifies and it solidifies those things about us, regardless of what we're experiencing in life. So purpose is so important because it shapes us in so many ways. That's why we want to discover it, right? We want to discover it. We want to take hold of it because wow, like it changes us. So let's talk about a purpose formula, a formula to get there. It is faith plus focus. Those are going to those are going to create those mini steps, those little small steps that you're going to take. First, you got to believe that you can be purposeful. You got to believe that you were created for purpose, right? Then you have to focus on what is that purpose. You may not fully understand it, you may not fully know it because um it does take intentionality, some guidance and direction sometimes to get to what is your purpose, some type of plan or roadmap. That's why I have a Discover Your Purpose playbook for you to learn how to do that because there's a way to get that clarity. But you want to start with those small steps towards that, which are setting those intentions. Even if the intention is, I want to become more purposeful, that's an intention that's going to get you closer to being purposeful. So that the first part of the formula is faith plus focus equals intention. You're going to start taking little small steps, right? Small steps to get you where you need to be. But once you start doing that, If you take your intentions plus actions, because intentions are thoughts, those are like desires, those are thoughts that you have. I intend to do something. Doesn't mean you actually have done it, right? But you plan on it. You verbally are saying that you plan on doing it. Okay, that's great. That's the first step. So once you get those intentions, you've got to add actions, right? You got to add those actions, those focused actions. And once you plan, you create or partner those small steps, those intentions with those actions. That is how you get to purpose. It's how you get there, right? These are things you can do in your daily life to just be purposeful, is to follow this formula. I'm going to do small things every day, right? As I'm learning, as I'm growing, as I'm discovering my purpose, I am focused on these small things that are going to get me to action. I'm doing something, it's happening. And before I know it, I am experiencing the fullness of my purpose. That is what's happening for me. So, this is a formula you can follow. Yes, you need more guidance. Yes, you need, some type of way to really get to what is the purpose. So, you're not just making steps towards something that's not even what you should be doing. Um, but this is just a quick formula. If you want to deep dive into it, you do need a plan. And I would recommend the Discover My Purpose playbook to really get to a plan on how to do that, how to uncover those things, how to get the clarity needed to understand why you were created. All right. So n- once you do that and you understand that formula of how to get to purpose, then you need to plan for your purpose. And that's creating a plan that will support your purposeful life. That's what the plan is for. It's not for anything else. When you really understand how purpose works, you learn how to become purposeful, and you understand that when with becoming purposeful, you also can become other things. You can become profitable. You can become wealthy, and you can become more self aware. Like all of these things happen as you are pursuing purpose. So the goal is to pursue purpose, because once you do that, everything else that you're actually desiring, it will come to you. So when we think about how to plan for purpose, you got to start making some decisions about your life, about what you want, and please feel free to drop some of these things in the chat with me. This is an interactive session because we want to go on this journey together to make 2025 our best year. So think about the reflections. If you want to drop a reflection in the chat, drop it in the chat. Something that a lesson learned for 2024, a word that you created for 2024 that you're like, okay, this actually happened. As I'm reflecting, this actually happened, or it didn't happen, and I feel like it should. And so it's something I'm still focused on for 2025. It's something I'm still planning for 2025. Drop that in the chat. If you want to share your intentions for 2025, let's talk about them. Let's support each other on this journey as we make 2025 our best year. All right. So now, since we have talked about those small steps you can do, and then we got deep into the purpose, and now we're planning for purpose in this current year, what do we need to decide? What do we need to decide that we want to do to make 2025 your best year? What do we need to do more of, do less of? What does that look like in our lives? Like there's many things that we can focus on. I need to do more for me personally. I need to do more of quiet time, quiet, purposeful time. Because I have quiet time, but I want to use that time to be purposeful, to write more, to reflect more. Sometimes I use my quiet time to just be at peace, or to I have other distractions happening while I'm being quiet. Like I've got TikTok going or whatever. Like it's my time of just winding down. But I want to be more intentional about my quiet time in 2025. It's one of the ways I want to make 2025 my best year. I mean, what are some of the ways you want to make 2025 your best year? Drop it in the chat. I want to hear from you, okay? Um, what are some things you need to learn in 2025? What are places that you need to visit? And these aren't always like, okay, I'm traveling abroad to make 2025 my best year. If that happens, great. I mean, go for it. Trips are amazing, right? But what if you just need to visit your library? What if you need to, visit a loved one's gravesite? Like, what are those things you need to do to really create the healing and to work towards your purpose, to remove any things that are blocking you along the way, right? What are some of those things? And there's sometimes they're big and sometimes they're small. So it's great. Okay. Andrea says she needs more meditation time. Be more organized with your time. I totally understand that. That's one of the things I want to start for 2025 with me is having an intentional meditation time. Like I have prayer time, but I don't always meditate on the things that I've prayed about. And so that's one of my starts. That's on that next list for me is like, what do I start? What do I continue to do? Well, one of the things that I did coming into 2025 and that really helped me get through 2024 is just increasing my prayer time. Like it really helped me. And so I'm going to continue to do that. I am going to continue to pray and get stronger in how I pray and, you know, um, making sure that I'm praying kingdom prayers and things of that nature. Like that is something I'm going to continue to do. Um, One of the things that I want to finish for 2025 is really just the foundational components of my business. I have been building out this business for the last 4 years now. And um, by the end of this year, I want to have like all those foundational things finished. It's a goal for 2025, and it's going to give me what I need to feel like, okay, I can now take my energy to focus on something else. And that's going to feel great. It's going to feel great all by itself to have that accomplished and have that serving me in a way that I can move faster through my life and through my experiences in business because I already have everything that I need. So I'm excited about that. When I think about the experiences for 2025, woo, do you even have the time for me to tell you the things that I hope to experience? But I will tell you this, I have a lot of things that I hope to experience for 2025 around um, the growth of myself spiritually, growth in my business, evolution in my personal life as far as relationships and commitment and things of that nature, my family, like tons of things I'm just hopeful and looking forward to experience in 2025. Okay, so Chocolate says, I want to finish my second book. I'm halfway through it, but I need to get better focus. Yes, Chocolate, that is such a great one to do. We can't wait for your second book to come out because we know it's going to be amazing. And, it's one of the things we talked about earlier, which is focus. We have got to get focused because that is what's going to make the difference in this year for us. You know, it's one of the things that I really want us to get. Is it like we have no other word for this year? Because I talked about that earlier, like you creating words for this year. If you don't have any other word for this year, focus needs to be a word to hold yourself accountable to because this is the year to lock in. Even if you've spent 2024 planting the seeds, right? It was your seed time. If you want to harvest, you have to get focused on how to harvest, when to harvest, what is it going to take to get the seeds up from the ground, right? The fruit and things that were planted, how do you get them out of the ground. Like, I fully believe that 2025 is our season for that. It is our season to gather all the things that we were meant to have, that we sold for, right? It is our season of harvesting, but we got to get focused. We need to learn, what is the equipment that I need to harvest? How do I get it up? What's the right time? And is it spring? Is it fall? Right? Is it summer? Because things are harvested at different times. So the only way we would know that is to get focused, is to pay attention, is to get present, and to make that our ultimate goal, is that we're going to get everything that was for us. We're going to get it because it's for us, it's ours. So I'm excited to hear about you finishing your second book. It's one of the things that I want to start this year, is writing my first book. So this is encouraging even for me to see you on your second book, that, hey, I can do this. I can do my first book. So thanks for sharing that. Um, so the next thing is, what do we want to receive? Um, Sometimes we just don't stop to think about that. We think about all the things we need to do as productive people. Um, but when we think about how, like, what do we need to receive, it's something important for us to think about, to take pause to think about, because when we're really saying that we want to be purposeful in life, we want to live these abundant lives, we can't do it by ourselves, right? It's just not possible, because the vision that we have, the purpose that we have, is so much bigger than us. It affects so many other people. So this this notion, this point of receiving, is something that we do have to sit in, because it helps us understand. It helps us get clear on, one, how big it is that I also need things outside of me, people outside of me, um, tools, skills, experience, God outside of me, right? I need all these things to work together to help me be purposeful and live my most purposeful life. So when you stop to think, for you that are on our live stream, what are some of the things you need to receive this year, just to be your best self, to make 2025 your best year, to become purposeful, to live in that? What are some of the things you need to receive? Now, I see Andrea said that, I hope I'm saying your name right. Andrea says that this is time to reap. It absolutely is time to reap. It is harvest time. And the beautiful thing about this season of reaping is, it's not just for the things that we planted. It's for the things that our um, our ancestors prayed for. It's for the things that we are trusted to be able to hold and manage and care for. It's so much bigger than the work we have done, than the seeds we have planted. And that's what makes this season amazing. That is what is so encouraging about the exceedingly and abundantly above all we could ever ask or think, that we can receive that this year in 2025, despite what is happening in the world, despite what is happening in the office of president, what is happening in the economy. We have a hedge of protection around us, because of our belief, because of our faith, right? That we can still, despite how it seems that everything else is going down, we can still be elevated up. And that's the amazing part about that faith that we have. So we know we got to have that faith, and we're all agreeing on that faith that's been established. But we know that faith and then focus. That's where we get those intentions, those small steps that we're going to take towards that bigger purpose. Okay, Portia says, yes, it is. Yes, Portia, thank you. Thank you for just agreeing that we are all on the same page, that we are agreeing that this is the time, this is the year. It is going to happen for us. I'm so glad that we're in it together. What do we need to receive? Sometimes it's hard for us. So let's take a minute together and start talking about some of the things we need to receive. You know what I need to receive? Because I've been pouring and my cup has been, and it's my job to keep my cup full. But one of the things that I would love to receive this year, is I would love to receive reciprocity in the love that I give. Come on now, tell me that's not a good one. Tell me that's not a good one for the ones who were on this live with me this morning. Like some seasons, you just don't get it. You just don't get that because you're serving in certain ways, and it's just not the timing for it. But one of the things that I look forward to receiving in 2025 is the reciprocity of what I have given in love. I want to receive that. And God knows all the ways, He knows all the people, He knows all the things, right? But that's one of the things I want to receive. Okay, Portia. Okay, Portia. She is my Amen Club. Absolutely. It's so important. And when you are a giver, you understand that everybody is not meant to give to you, or that's just not the position of things. But there are some seasons where you're like, okay, in this season, I'm looking forward to that. And this is one for me. 2025, I'm looking for it. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to receiving mentorship for the next level that I'm going to in my business. I'm looking forward to receiving um, just um, more visibility. And for me to receive the visibility, I have to make myself present. So, some of the things that we're looking to receive, it is definitely based on how we show up as well, you know? Okay, so Chocolate says, I need to receive the gift of rest. God went away to rest, so why do I feel as though I can't do that? Being a recovering people pleaser has me doing better. Oh, so grateful. So grateful that you are recovering. So grateful that you are transforming, that you are becoming a version of yourself that focus is on being purposeful and pleasing God and not others. So grateful that this year you will receive the gift of rest because you will give yourself that gift. And I'm so grateful that you will honor yourself with all the gifts because you deserve them. You deserve them. You deserve them, Chocolate. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Andrea says, very important. You agree. Yeah, girl, we got to receive. We got to receive. And I'm staying on this one because I'm just telling you, for us, we just don't focus on it. We don't focus on it. We think about the productivity side. What do we need to do? What do we need to start? What do we need to stop? What do we need to continue? A lot of these things are about doing, but receiving is so important. So, so, so important. All right, Chocolate says, Jen, I'm a CEO and walking through stage 4 breast cancer. I need to do better. Don't we all? Okay. We all need to do better. And we see you, CEO. We see you in your walk, your courageous walk. We see you as an inspiration to us because, my God, if you get up every day with joy in your heart, in your stride, in your communication, through everything you're experiencing, God is good. He is good. And we thank you. We thank you for being who you are and for changing our lives in ways that you don't even recognize. You probably don't, because we probably don't always do a good job of telling you what it really means to see you as an example. So thank you. And we're here to support each other on our journey of making the only way we can make 2025 our best year is to work towards making ourselves our best version of ourselves. That's the only way that happens. So we're all on this journey of doing it. We're all on this journey. And that's why it's so important to take this time to do this work that we're doing together right now. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing because we've all got work to do. I need to do better in some areas too. I need to do better in resting. There are some goals that I have for my physical health, for my mental health, um, and my spiritual health that rest is a huge part of. So I appreciate you acknowledging that because it's going to be required. As I'm not a recovering people pleaser, but I am a recovering productivity queen. I get things done. You understand? I get things done. I keep things moving. Like if you put it in my lap, it's going to be taken care of. That I'm that girl. But I have become the person who is very intentional about what I am doing, what needs to take place, whether it's important in this moment or not, because a lot of things aren't important. And some things that would have freaked me out years ago, like, oh my God, that didn't get done, or we missed this meeting, or we missed this deadline. Man, I just have a greater understanding of timing and that one, I'm not in control over it, and that things happen when they're meant to happen. You know, we don't control everything, and that's okay. Just resting in the fact that I am not in control, and that's actually the best place for me to be because I can remove that pressure from myself because it's not all on my shoulders. It's not all on me. So that's one of the things that I'm recovering from. So if you see me out here being the productivity queen, honey, tap me on the shoulder, get me together, and say, now look, that seems like a lot. Are you sure that that is what your purpose to do in this moment? Because I'm recovering from that area too, and hoping, for a full transformation, working those steps towards being purposeful so I can fully be transformed in that area. So the last thing we're going to talk about on the decisions you have to make is, what do you want to give? We have shown up in our lives as givers. Excuse me, my allergies are really bothering me today. But we've shown up in our lives as givers, and sometimes we overgive. And if we look back and reflect on 2024 and other years, it's like, okay, I gave too much. I gave in places where there wasn't going to be reciprocity. And it just wasn't the right investment of myself, of my time, or my energy. I gave in places where, um, I wasn't purposed to do. I'm just so used to giving that I need to protect my well because, the well can run dry if you just keep, rolling the bucket down, pulling more up, and you're just tossing it out. And so, this year we need to be very intentional about what are we going to give and deciding because it is our decision to make. Definitely lean into your discernment, your intuition about that, lean into your purpose about that. But you don't have to give in the same way that you've given before. That may totally shift for you in 2025. And you have to be okay with how other people feel about it. If they feel like, oh, she changed things up. She used to give more of her time. We used to be able to go out with her more or do this with her more. Now she don't even call us on the phone anymore or whatever the case may be. That's okay. Your time, and that way you may no longer be giving in 2025 because you have to focus. So, talk to me, ladies. What are some of the things that you may give differently? I'm not saying stop giving altogether because we were created to, that's a part of who we are. But what are some of the things you may have to give differently? It may shift and change. It may change in 2025 because your goal and your focus is to make 2025 your best year. One of the things I constantly kind of manage is how I give my emotions, like how much I care about certain things. It may sound crazy, but I can't care so deeply about everything. I have to be focused on the things that I am meant to care about, the things that are a part of my purpose, because I don't want to get distracted by so many things. I don't want to get distracted by things that are taking me off this direction or that direction. So I guess in a weird way, it's like I don't give a care about certain things because I can't. I can't, and it's not my ministry. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So I have to stay in my lane. So that's one thing that um I focus on is where do I give my care? I know I'm saying it in a playful way, but it's important to really get clear on that because your heart can only do so much. It's only meant to be in certain spaces and areas. And if we don't protect it by giving everywhere, then we're the ones that our cups are going to be empty. We're the ones that are going to be lacking. And we don't have to have any lack in 2025. We just don't have to have it, and there are certain things that we do to ourselves that create it. So um, that's just one thing I wanted to share with you guys about how to give or not give. But really, as you're thinking about 2025, these are just some key areas to focus on, um, decisions that need to be made. And I do believe that these decisions that you're making around these areas do need to be rooted in your purpose, right? You getting to that place of discovering purpose. And so I do believe that is a huge part of how you make these decisions, how you decide. So I am, kind of wrapping up here because this is really where we should land as we end this conversation, thinking about all these different places that a decision has to be made. Does anyone want to share any intentions that you thought about in this conversations that you're going to set for 2025? Um, if you do already know your purpose in life, um, do you want to share something about how you're pursuing that purpose in 2025? As we wrap this conversation, I wanted to bring up some comments that are being made just to highlight you guys for sharing. Chocolate is saying that she's going to do better with giving her time to those that I already know will honor it. Oh, so good. So, so good because doing that is honoring yourself. We have relationships in life that are assignments, and we have relationships in life that are really meant to be fulfilling for us as well. And you have to know the difference because knowing the difference will help you decide, which is what needs to happen. It will help you decide if the time that you're given is being given in the right way. Assignments, we have to do what needs to be done if we choose to honor God in that way. But when it comes to relationships that are meant to be reciprocal, spaces where our time, our energy, our love will be honored, that's on us to decide if we're getting that back or not, and if that's the right relationship for us. So I love the power that you are speaking through in this statement of doing better with giving your time to those who will honor it because honoring your time is honoring you. Love that. Love that. Love that. Okay. Anybody else want to share um, something about your purpose this year in 2025, how you're planning to make this your best year? I will just tell you if you need support, if you need a guide or guides, I actually have several of them. I'll show you here. These are the guides that I even use myself to kind of really help me get clear on purpose, setting intentions, and really planning to honor those intentions and honor that purpose. So, if you need guides to do that, I do have a bundle that I can share with you. Um, I will put the information at the bottom of the screen for you. You can go to my stand store to get it, depending on what device you're on. QR code. You can get the Your Best Year bundle to help you thrive. Just guides um, to kind of walk you through how to get clarity on your purpose, how to really discover it. Because sometimes that's really hard. It was really hard for me. I think I worked to do that until probably my late 30s. And I was like, okay, I think I finally have, figured it out. But if I had this in my 20s, like, wow, I would have had more as lost as I did for so long. Um, but then once I got my purpose, I needed to know, like, how do I take those small steps? Because I'm like okay, I'm a kind of a big thinker, big action taker type person. I am the person that's like, okay, well, I have this idea and I go for the idea. I don't scale it back or scale it down. I'm just like, hey, that's what I want to do and I'm going to go for it. So, the intention setting really helped me to break it up into those smaller steps. Like, what are those daily things that I can be doing, or just changing my mindset that's taking me from where I currently am to setting those intentions. So that was really helpful. If you aren't on a computer and you need to get to the store, I can share that on the screen for you. Um, so you can see how to get there. And so the stand store that I have, it's where all of my products and services are. If you want to talk to me more, you can book a call and we can just talk. Um, if you're interested in some of my services, you'll see all of them on my stand store. And there are services there and products for personal development, which is your best year, really helping you get that personal development piece as a foundation to create your best year. But then there's also products on there for business development. If you're growing a business, if you need ways to transform your finances in a short period of time, if you're looking to make six figures in 6 months, I've got a triple threat system that can walk you through how to do that. But if you're looking for coaching and you really need, this is the year that you decided to invest in coaching, I do have coaching packages available as well. And I do have payment plans for them through Klarna and Afterpay. If you need a coaching package, um, whether it's group or individual. So feel free to reach out to me if you are ready to transform your business and transform your life and you need that type of service. But ultimately, I just want to be on this journey with you to make this year our best year. I know we're going to continue to have life happen. We will continue to have situations come up, distractions, but I want to help us build a community that's going to be focused on being purposeful and taking that journey of getting there because that's what we were created for. And so I'm so grateful that all of you decided to join today to share your feedback um, throughout this conversation and really show up for yourselves. Like this is not even about me. It's about how what you desire for this year and you investing your time and energy and efforts to do so. So I just want to thank you for showing up for you um, because it tells me a lot about what you desire for your year. And it's the same thing I desire. So it's always great to be on with people, be connected to people who are going in the same direction of you, even though we may land in different places because our purposes are different. We are going in the same direction of being purposeful in our lives. And I just believe, as I stated earlier, that when we focus on that, all of the other things that we desire, our wealth, our health, you know, our growth, and all these other areas in our lives, it will happen because we focused on the thing that mattered. We focused on positioning ourselves in the place that we were meant to be to create the most impact and um, and fulfill the thing that we were created to do. So I'm excited to make 2025 my best year. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. Um, but if you want to, like I said, stay in touch, um, I'm on Transformation Circle on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We're launching a podcast really soon. We've been working on it since last year. So I'm excited to share the podcast guests, the stories, because they are going to help you become, evolve, and transform your life. So, super excited about that. And I don't want you to miss the Transformation Circle podcast as it comes out this year. Um, I'm sorry, I'm messing up the screen. Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. Once again, if you want the Your Best Year bundle, you can go to my stand store and get that at a discounted rate. I normally sell these as individual documents because they're very thorough and they can stand alone by themselves. However, this year I was like, you know what? Let's just make a bundle because these are all the things that a person would need to do the full work, right? To set that full foundation. So we've created a bundle here for you. And like I said, you can go to the web address there to see it and purchase it if you feel like that will help you in your journey. Um, and then lastly, okay, we got some other comments that came up. So I don't want to miss anyone's comment. So I want to share this comment before we wrap up. All right. So the referral resource guide, I think that's Brenda. Hi, Brenda. Um, I stop in the day and rest, take a walk, short nap to replenish and breathe deeply like a restart. If I think I'm off track or just need a break. Wow, thanks so much for sharing that. I think that's a great suggestion for us to do because sometimes we just sit where we are and we don't move. We just sit in that place and we don't shift. And I really believe that so important, So thank you for reminding us to just take a walk. Let that be a part of our rest. We need those reminders. So thank you so much for that. I do believe that those deep breaths that we take, that we're intentional about taking, they do reset us. So this is a good reminder that there are small things that you can do, small things you can do to take care of yourselves, to prioritize yourself, and to get rest throughout the day, not just at nighttime. And that's one of the things that my rest coach has taught me is that rest is an all day thing. It is not just when you lay your head in bed at night. So um, it's something that we all should learn to do. So thanks so much for sharing that, Brenda. Okay. Well, once again, I have really enjoyed this live. Thank you so much for joining. And if there's anything that you're doing, feel free to connect with me on what you're doing so I can support you as well, being your most purposeful self this year. If you need to connect, you can DM me on TikTok at I am Coach Jennifer. You can reach me. By email at Jennifer at I am Coach Jennifer. I'm happy to connect, happy to respond to questions, offer support or prayer, um, and just committed to making this year our best year. Okay, well, it's been amazing for this last hour, you sticking with me for this last hour. Thanks again for being here. We are wrapping it up right now. We are all getting off this live, determined to make this year our best year, and we're going to make that happen. Have a great day.